So what happens at a joint mediation session? Well, first of all, let's just discuss what happens before then. So you've both agreed to do mediation. You have to do a MIAM first of all, and there's a separate guide to what happens at a MIAM. Do take a look at that when you can. But once you've both done your MIAM, if mediation is deemed suitable, then you'll go on to the joint mediation sessions. You'll normally cover off parenting first if you have children issues that need to be addressed between you. And this is really about sorting out the child arrangements. So the mediator will take you through a process to help you reach an agreement on where the children are going to stay and when, and then what's going to happen at important occasions like birthdays, Christmas, holidays, religious festivals, and so on. Once that's done, they'll cover off things such as education and health, and what's going to happen about holidays, all the things that people can end up going to court. And we try and preempt things that can cause issues down the line. So for example, if one of you ends up with a new partner and you want to move in together or want to introduce them to the children, we can cover off, if you want to, how that's going to work. So anything where there can be a dispute, we will try to cover off in your parenting plan. And then, of course, if you choose to, you can have that parenting plan made legally binding through a child arrangement order. Just bear in mind that the court will only give you a child arrangement order if they consider it in the child's best interest to do so. So that's the parenting for a joint mediation session. For financial joint mediation sessions, we take you through a proven method that the courts want us to do to ensure that you've been through a fair process. And that is basically agreeing what have we got. You have to do a financial disclosure. It has to be full and open. We'll then take you through, does anything come off the table? Is there any debts or money that isn't really of the marriage? Take them off the table. How are we going to divide up what there is fairly so that we can both move forwards with our lives? And then finally, is there any ongoing payments? If so, how much and for how long? And it is all really about fairness and meeting your needs. So the mediator will take you through a proven process that's going to end up hopefully with a fair outcome for you both, but also one that allows you to have a memorandum of understanding produced, which can then be made legally binding into a financial consent order. And unlike the parenting legal agreement, you probably should consider very strongly having a financial consent order to protect you both. So with joint mediation sessions, they normally last 90 minutes. We can go up to 2 hours. If you're doing something called shuttle mediation, where you're in separate rooms or on separate screens, we normally allow 2 hours for that because it just takes a bit longer with the mediator going between you both. Otherwise 90 minutes, and sometimes if there's a top up needed or just a few issues left to resolve, we can do it for an hour, but we wouldn't normally set up a session for less than an hour. And we try not to do it for more than 2 hours because everyone just gets a bit tired after that, especially for mediators. If you are feeling overawed, one of the things you might mention at the MIAM is that there might be some key trigger words that the other party may say that, can really get you upset. So do talk about those with your mediator beforehand. But if you need a break at any point in that 90-minute session, just ask. You can go into breakout rooms if you're online. You can go and have a cup of tea or coffee if you're doing it in an office. So do ask if you are needing a break. Do take time to check. Do keep calm in the joint sessions because you're using that time to get to an agreement, which is then going to allow you both to move on with your lives. And at the end of the day, that's what this whole process is all about. So best of luck with your joint mediation sessions. I need to say, if you're doing parenting, 2 to 3 is the average, 3 to 4 sessions perhaps average for finances, depending on how complicated they are. And yes, it's not a cheap process, but it is far cheaper, I assure you, than going down a solicitor-led route, and certainly cheaper than going to court. And it might just keep things more amicable as well. So good luck with your joint mediation sessions.